News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Nathan Hager.
And I'm Karen Moscow.
Karen, we begin with the latest on efforts to end the war in Ukraine. European leaders are seizing on President Donald Trump's support for a plan that would involve sending European troops to Ukraine as part of a potential peace deal with Russia. Those security guarantees could take shape as soon as this week. White House Special Envoy Steve Witkoff discussed it on Fox News.
The Ukrainians actually can make a peace deal if they want to. Now, we're not suggesting that they have to take it. The president has also said it's going to be for President Zelensky to make that judgment call. And I think that judgment call is going to begin with security guarantees.
And that was White House envoy Steve Witkoff speaking on Fox News. We get more from Bloomberg opinion columnist Mark Champion.
Trump has said that he will support some kind of security guarantees. The British and French had long been talking about a coalition of the willing. So what we're looking at the moment is British and French and some other troops on the ground, and then U.S. support for that. So intelligence, air cover, logistics, etc. All the things that the Americans have plenty of capacity for and the Europeans don't.
Bloomberg opinion columnist Mark Champion says European military officials plan to meet with their U.S. counterparts in coming days to flesh out those security guarantees.
Now, Nathan, let's get the latest on the trade war. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said the status quo is working when it comes to the tariff setup with China. He discussed it in an interview on Fox News.
China is right now the biggest revenue line in the tariff income. So, if it's not broke, don't fix it. We have had very good talks with China. I imagine we'll be seeing them again before November.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent's comments indicate an opening for President Trump to meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping. Still, the trade dispute is causing some pain. President Trump has called on China to massively step up soybean purchases. It has yet to do so, and the Trump administration is set to step up scrutiny of steel, copper, lithium, and other imports from China to ensure they're not made with forced labor.
Well, Karen, President Trump's pursuit of wealth while in office has reached another level. Bloomberg's John Tucker joins us with more. What are we talking about here, John?
Well, President Trump, Nathan, has bought hundreds of bonds since he returned to office, including those sold by companies affected by changes to federal policies that he's championed. According to required disclosures, there have been 690 transactions worth at least $103.7 million. The first was made just the day after his inauguration. Unlike his predecessors, President Trump didn't divest or move his assets into a blind trust. His business operates in several areas that intersect with presidential policy. In addition to municipal bonds, the president bought corporate debt from Qualcomm, Home Depot, T-Mobile, and Meta Platforms. His net worth, by the way, is pegged at $6.4 billion by the Bloomberg Billionaires Index. In New York, I'm John Tucker, Bloomberg Radio.
All right, John, thank you. Well, the countdown underway for this week's big economic event. The Kansas City Fed's annual Economic Policy Symposium kicks off tomorrow in Jackson Hole. Then Fed Chair Jay Powell gives remarks on Friday. Tom Keene will be in Jackson Hole covering it all for Bloomberg.
I really think Jackson Hole is going to be extraordinary this year. It's going to be one of the 2 or 3 great meetings going back to the crash of 2007, what we saw into 08 and 09. But this year with the twist of the politics of Donald Trump and the whole battle of central bank independence. Michael McKee leading our coverage. He's been there already talking to Michelle Bowman. There'll be some other key conversations. But the immediate idea here is not so much will they cut rates, but why they would cut rates, looking at the inflation dynamic and the jobs dynamic as well. It's going to be an eventful Friday.
Yeah, and Tom Keene is going to be part of the Bloomberg Jackson Hole coverage. It all finishes up with a special edition of Bloomberg Surveillance on Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern with Tom, Mike McKee, and Lisa Abramowitz. Plus, watch for special episodes of the Odd Lots podcast. Joe Weisenthal and Tracy Alloway will be taping several conversations from the event as well.
Of course, Karen, Tom mentioned Mike McKee's interview with Michelle Bowman. The Fed vice chair says she's focused on her current role overseeing bank regulation, even as she's reported to be under consideration by President Trump to lead the central bank. Bowman says she's pushing ahead with plans to rewrite capital rules for large banks and crack down on debanking.
It's important to understand that the president issued an executive order because it is a problem in the banking system. And one of the first things that I did in assuming this role was to rescind all of our guidance and to change our supervisory materials that referenced reputational risks so that we could ensure that the Federal Reserve is no longer including that in our examinations or in our supervisory activities.
Fed Vice Chair Michelle Bowman was one of two Fed members who dissented against the decision to hold rates steady again last month.
And that's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Karen Moscow.
I'm Nathan Hager, and this is Bloomberg.